everybody, it's Janet with Sugar Shine Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to make this twist pop-up card. I decorated this card with these cute little sleeping bears, which are part of the CottageCutz baby release. There's 42 die cuts for baby in that set. I'm also going to show you the diaper pin, which is part of that, the diaper, the crib, and then finally the baby die cut. The baby is not part of the release, but it is in the store. I also used the stitched circles and squares for mats on this card. This project has some serious wow factor, and it all has to do with the interior card mechanism, which allows it to twist and pop up like you're seeing here. It is so cool, and your recipient will love this card, I guarantee you. The key to this card is the card base that includes the mechanism that creates, again, that twist and pop up feature. There's a lot to cover in how to make this card as well as decorate it, so I've divided this into two parts. This video is all about decorating a completed mechanism, but I have another video that I recorded with all of the dimensions and detailed instructions, including scoring lines and measurements, and I've also used marker to show all the measurements and scoring lines, so it'll make it very easy for you to follow along and learn how to do this. I would sure like to say that I created this design, but I didn't. I found it from another crafter on YouTube called May Made It. And she showed how to make this card, and although I took it and changed the measurements just a little bit, it's basically her design, and I want to give her full credit for that. So if after you've watched my video and you're still a little confused, you can always go to her video and check out her channel too, because she does a great job with a lot of different projects. So like I said, I'm not going to show you how to make the card base in detail in this video. I'll show you when the mechanism is pretty much mostly completed, but again, this one is about decorating, so if you want to see how to make the mechanism itself, please again go to the video link that I have in my description. Now the pieces of this card are just three. I have this piece. This is the card mechanism itself that makes the twist and pop motion. Now this is just the standard card base. It's A2 size with the hinge at the top, and the mechanism, once it's ready, goes inside, and then this piece is glued to the mechanism and causes the card to open and pop. Now by the magic of video, I have here a completed mechanism which has the pop-up piece glued in. Now this is attached to the main card base by gluing both the top and the bottom of the mechanism into the top and bottom of the card base, and then when you open, you have that pop feature. Let's look at how I decorated the inside of the card. I first started by creating some mats with the stitched circle and square sets, and I also included one down here for the bottom, which allows you to write a sentiment to the recipient, which is a good little touch. Now this card, as you probably noticed in the beginning, it features these little sleeping bears. This one is on a cloud and is so cute. And then we also have this one that is sleeping on a crescent moon. And both of these come together in one single set when you buy the die. So it offers a lot of great versatility there. Here's some closer looks at these two die cuts. And here are the pieces for the cloud bear and then also for the moon bear. Very cute to work with and pretty easy to put together. Now the crescent moon one is going to go on the front of the card, and the cloud bear is going to go on the inside of the card. And I should mention here that you probably want to decorate the inside of the card, then the exterior of the card, then glue it together. And that's just because it gets a little bit bulky. Now here's the diaper pin, and it's got the bow and the cute little top to it. Taking a closer look at that, we have these individual pieces which I glued together to give it a little more thickness. And then we have the baby phrase, which is not in one of the new releases, but you can get it in the store, and that can go about there. Then we have this cute little and simple crib, and here are the pieces for the crib and the baby phrase, and again I cut multiple pieces and glued them together to add some additional thickness. Finally there's this diaper, and I love this diaper. It is so darn cute. I don't know what it is about that one, but I just love it. And like the others, here are the pieces cut out before I put them together. So here we are with all the pieces more or less laid out. Now let's talk about how I shaded these. I again chose to use chalk, and on the diaper I used both blue and gray just to get a little bit of shading and give it some more dimension, and I really liked how that turned out. Again, love that diaper. Then taking a look at the diaper pin, I used some red chalk for the top and the bow. On my bear, I use pink chalk on the cloud and also on the diaper. And I use brown chalk around the pieces of the body just to give it some dimension and depth, and also on my little bow. Of course, this die cut has a tail, but I had this little pink pom-pom in my stash, so I added that. And then I also have put black magic marker over the impressions that are made in the die, and that's certainly something that's optional. You don't have to do that. So again, by the magic of video, here we are with it all completed. Ta-da! Too bad real life doesn't work that way, isn't it? In any case, once I stopped grabbing the edge of that thing, it worked pretty well, and you can see the finished product of the, inside of the card right here. So now is a good time to move on to the exterior of the card. Again, let's look at our base. And if we put our mechanism in here again and pretend that it's glued, boom, we have our whole card on the inside. So it's going to work great. I'm going to mount the bear on top of this oval piece of cardstock, and it says good night and pleasant dreams. Many of my fellow design team members have made this bear die cut and showed them on cards prior to this, but this is my take on it, and of course I've made it pink to be, to match the baby girl theme. I put foam tape on his mouth on the blanket, and I added the little pink pom-pom there. And then I also have this white and silver pom-pom for the hat. On the back, I've added a layer of foam tape just to give it some lift and extra dimension when I put it on this oval base. Behind that, we're going to have these two pieces of cardstock, some glitter pink cardstock and some designer pattern paper, and then the oval is just going to go down and to the right on the front. The paper I used for this card came from a stack called Little One Paper Pad from We Are Memory Keepers, and then the pink glitter paper comes from CottageCutz with a View. The Little One Paper Pad is an older pad. I actually picked it up at Tuesday morning, but I did go online and I see that you can buy it at various locations still. So if you like this paper, you can still find it. After gluing the two strips together and attaching it to the front of the card, it's now time to put the bear on top of the oval. And then I just glued that straight on to the front of the card. I would have really liked to have used some foam tape on this part, but you know what, it's already a fairly thick card when you're done, and I didn't want to add more thickness to it. And speaking of that, you probably will want to use a larger envelope than an A2 size to accommodate its thickness, or consider finding a small box to put it into. I decided to add these little hearts, and they came actually from the Diaper Pin die cut. So not to waste anything, and the fact that they're so adorable, I decided to put them on the front for an accent. And actually, to me, it makes it look like the bear is snoring hearts, and how cute is that? I just thought it was a nice little touch. I really like that idea. Additionally, I'm putting some sequins on this, and they are embossed sequins. I think I ended up with 7 of them on there, and it looks like that. I'll also be putting on top of those some rhinestones to cover up the holes. And here are the rhinestones I mentioned that I peeled off, and I just put one on top of each of these sequins to cover up the hole that each of them have. So here is the finished front of the card. I think it turned out very well. And now we're ready to put the interior or the card mechanism inside. So opening this up, I'll center it as best I can and just glue it with wet glue. Now I like to use wet glue, I've said this in many of my videos, just because I can never seem to get things straight, and it helps me have some wiggle room and some time to move things around a little bit. But you could definitely use double-sided tape in this, or snail tape, and that way it would be very secure as well. And once it's well covered with glue, what you want to do is center it to the middle of the crease on the hinge, and that way you get an even edge too on each side of the mechanism, because it creates kind of the mat. Now here you'll see that I made a nice little mistake. I put the whole thing in upside down, but I realized it after I put in the first side of the card base. So I took it out quickly before it set too hard, and then re-glued it in so that when you opened it, it was all the right side up. So if you make this mistake like I did, it wasn't a big deal, because the card mechanism is the same shape and size Once you take it out, flip it over, glue it in. The new base that you glue just covers up the mistake that was made, so it was no big deal at all. That wraps up my project for today. Thanks for following along, and I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the brand new CottageCutz dies. Don't forget to check out the link that will take you to the instructional video so that you can make your own twist pop-up card bases. And if you liked my video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll see you soon, and until then, keep crafting.